Guys, we finally got our first Fabrizio Romano bomb of the summer, and it's about time, right? Liverpool have reportedly made an initial approach for Italian winger Federico Chiesa as a potential target for the final days of the window. It's worth mentioning that Chiesa is available on the market and eager for a move to the Premier League. So, hopefully we won't see a repeat of the Zubimendi situation. Today, as always, we're here to break down what kind of player Chiesa is, what he could bring to Arne Slot's squad, and why he perfectly fits Michael Edwards' opportunistic approach. So, hit that like and subscribe button and let's dive right in. Now, some of you might feel a bit underwhelmed by the club going after a player Juventus don't want, right? You might think we're picking up other teams' leftovers. Otherwise, why would the old lady be willing to let Chiesa go? Well, it's simple. Every manager has their preferred type of player, and for the new Juventus boss, Thiago Motta, Chiesa doesn't seem to fit the profile he's looking for. In fact, since Motta took over, there's been talk that Juventus are eyeing Manchester United flop Jadon Sancho. So just because they don't want to Chiesa doesn't mean he isn't good enough. There are many factors at play. Player profiles, squad tactics, and even financial considerations. So now that we've cleared that up, let's dive into what kind of player Federico Chiesa really is. The 26-year-old is a right-footed winger by trade, and as you can see from his heat map from last season, he mainly operated on the left wing. Does that mean he's only limited to that area of the pitch? Absolutely not. Chiesa can also slot in on the right wing like he did for Italy during the latest Euros, as a second striker and even as a centre forward. So we've established that he's a winger by trade, and that surely means he's got blistering pace, right? Well, who could forget that goal he scored in the 2020 Euro semi-final against Spain? He sprinted across the pitch, leaving burn tracks behind before collecting the ball and curling in a brilliant effort into the net. Back then, it was safe to say that Chiesa was one of the most explosive wingers in the world. Once he hit that turbo button, there was no catching him. Unfortunately though, Chiesa suffered a devastating cruciate ligament tear in 2022, which sidelined him for a total of 269 days. This injury did lead him to losing some of that explosiveness when he returned to the pitch. But let's leave that point open for now because we'll be diving deeper into it in an upcoming video. So make sure you do hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it. Now back to what Chiesa brings to the table. It's clear that a winger needs to be able to take on his markers and progress the ball with his carrying ability. And that's exactly what the Italian excels at. You can see here how highly he ranks in terms of take-ons and successful take-ons. This is particularly impressive when you consider he was playing under the pragmatic Max Allegri, who likely didn't encourage much adventurous play with the ball. You can also notice how good the player is when it comes to carrying and progressing the ball into the final third and penalty area, ranking in the 95th and 97th percentiles in both metrics respectively. Bombing from the left-hand side, Chiesa can take on players on the byline or by cutting on in his stronger foot, and this is where most of the magic happens. Here we want to address 2 points. First is the player's creativity. Now, although Chiesa is not known to be a creative force, his numbers from last season are nothing short of impressive. The player ranked in the 99th percentiles compared to other forwards for shot-creating actions. Whether it's through live or dead balls, take-ons or fouls drawn, Chiesa looks to be a main threat when it comes to creating shots for his teammates. His passing numbers are also interesting, as he averaged 2.29 key passes per 90, while also ranking high in other creative metrics. We say that these numbers are interesting because Chiesa has an underrated skill that is not talked about enough, which is his ability to manipulate the ball in tight areas and slip through his teammates on goal. Now combine the player's carrying and passing abilities together and you'll be impressed by his end product. After carrying the ball, Chiesa ended up having 27 shots, scoring 4 goals, providing 19 key passes, and creating 2 assists. Guys, we're talking about someone who allegedly lost his explosiveness due to an ACL injury here. Now, our second point that we want to discuss is the player's shooting ability. We said that Chiesa is not known for being a creative monster, but what he surely is a terrifying shooter. You can see here that the bulk of his shots come in from the left half space, which is where the player finds himself in after cutting in on his preferred right foot. Out of the 9 league goals he scored last season, 4 came in from that area, with the other 2 shots from outside the penalty box hitting the post. To highlight the player's accuracy even more, here you can see that he's averaged 1 goal every 10 shots taken while being closer to average less shots per goal too. This is due to the fact that Chiesa has the ability to create separation when taking a shot. A prime example to this is again his goal against Spain in the 2020 Euros. It literally took the player a millisecond between setting the ball on his preferred foot and actually having a shot. Again, if you want a deeper explanation on how Chiesa does this, make sure you do turn that notification bell on. You won't want to miss our big deep dive. Think of Iron Robin and how quickly he rifles in shots. That's the closest we can compare Chiesa to. So now that we briefly discussed what the player's best attributes are, how can Arne Slot actually use Chiesa? Well, the obvious option is to stick him as the left winger with the freedom to cut inside, just like how Luis Diaz is playing. As we saw during our games, Slot likes to suddenly hit a direct ball, and Chiesa is more than capable to provide that threat in behind and pop in a shot from the edge of the area. The second option is to deploy the Italian as a second striker, which might be unlikely since Slot's system requires a number 10, a position that is currently occupied by Dominik Szoboszlai, who offers a completely different dimension, especially when out of possession. So this might be out of the question, especially with Chiesa's injury concern, since this role requires huge physical demands. The third option is the right wing, which is obviously a position reserved to Mo Salah. Here Chiesa can offer some depth in that area that the club kind of lacks, especially with Ben Doak being rumoured to be heading out soon. Both Salah and Chiesa's minutes can be handled cautiously ahead of a long season, which will give us the best opportunity to have a successful campaign. Now to our final point of the video, which is why Chiesa is a prime example of a Michael Edwards opportunistic signing. First, as we mentioned earlier, Motta and Juventus are looking to part ways with the player as the new manager does not believe the player fits into his style. Also, the Italian club has already brought in two wingers and are still looking at Jadon Sancho, and selling Chiesa will balance their books financially. So this is undoubtedly a market opportunity. Remember, before his ACL injury, Chiesa was deemed as one of the hottest prospects when it came to wingers. He had 92 goal contributions for both Fiorentina and Juventus before he got injured. And given his current situation at the club and his willingness to join a Premier League side, Liverpool can get the player for a cheap price, which is again a sign of an Edwards opportunistic approach. Another key point to highlight is we know what kind of data nerd Edwards is, and he'll undoubtedly have access to information that will never lay in our hands. But looking at the stats we provided you, it makes perfect sense why our CEO of football is looking at the 26-year-old Italian. So, would Chiesa be our priority signing here at Panenka? Obviously not, since we're always talking about getting a new number 6 and a left-footed centre-back. But if the price is right, we would be more than happy to take in Chiesa due to the attribute he possesses and the roles he can play as backup to Mo Salah, giving this side much needed squad depth in a long season that is only just starting. But now we want to hear your thoughts. Will you be satisfied with Chiesa joining the team? Do you think he'll become a starter, or is he just a backup player? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you want us to drop a deeper analysis as quick as possible, a little encouragement in the comments will do wonders. We hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Liverpool deep dives. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace.